Um, I definitely like sharing my information. And so in that file that she said was in the chat that you could download, the first two deals in the file are some flip deals that I'm currently doing. And so I don't want to pay a lot of particular attention to those deals. I just kind of wanted to tell you about them. There's something that happened. I don't usually do flips too many times, but in this market, they're kind of easy to do right now. If you can find a really good deal on a property, it's kind of easy to put it back on the market and make a little bit of money. And so I've done a couple of them here lately because I, just can't pass them up. But my main emphasis is on this. I want to put on this new deal that I'm doing, and it is a big piece of acreage that I'm buying. It's like 469 acres, and I'm getting it for like $586,000. It's the biggest deal I've ever done or will ever do at the moment. I'm saying, it's not the biggest deal I will ever do because I'm shooting for the stars now. So, but I want to tell everybody that it wasn't always like this for me. Sabor, when he introduced me there, the things he was saying about me as I sit here and listen to him say those, it's kind of surreal because I didn't used to have a lot of money. I didn't have good credit. I wanted to be a real estate investor. I was trying to figure it out. I failed a lot of times, but I just kept going. And so if any of you out there really want to be a real estate investor and it's something you really want to do, you will find a way to do it. You won't take no for an answer. You will continue to move towards your goal like you're supposed to, with something you're passionate about. You're supposed to continue to make strides towards that. Even if it's little progress at a time, you're still making progress towards that goal. It just so happens that I've been doing it for a while now. And so I've been able over the years, consistently doing deals and building up owner finance deals on the side where I collect residual monthly income. I've been able to build it up into more than I've ever thought. But at this moment, as I sit here and talk to you, and I'm about to do the biggest deal I've ever done, to me, when I look at this big deal I'm about to do and how much I'm about to make, to me, I look at it, it's almost a new beginning because I've kind of honed my craft to the point that I'm about to do this deal and make $1 million on this deal. In reality, if you look at it and I explain it to you in detail how I'm going to buy it for 586, and when I sell it, it's gonna sell for about $1.6 million. I'm gonna make about $1 million on this deal in one deal, and that's crazy to me. But if I can do one or two of those a year for the next 3 or 4 years, I'm good. I'm good. If I can just do one a year, and so I'm gonna start focusing a lot of my energy into these bigger deals like this, and not doing the smaller deals, and just focusing my time on trying to do a big, doing this big deal. But I wanted to tell you guys, so the last deal I did, I came and I spoke to the group and I was telling you about a deal I was doing with my nephew where I bought 343 acres for $325,000. I paid $950 an acre for it. And so the way I financed it and did all that, my nephew put 52 grand in. When we sold all the lots, it took me it took about 5 weeks to sell all 23 lots. And when I sold it, when I first was doing the deal, before I did it, I estimated that I would sell the land for $2,500 an acre, or about $900,000 when I got done selling it. But I was able to sell most of that land for $3,000 an acre, and we ended up selling it for $1,070,000. So we made $170,000 more on the owner finance portion of it than I anticipated. And so for my investor, that looks really good. And that is the power of underestimating your end result and then coming out better than it, instead of overestimating and coming out under it. when you're looking at the deal and you go, hey, I'm going to buy it for 10 and sell it for 20, that's reasonable. Maybe you sell it for 25 and you got a bonus for that. But if you come out and you say, hey, I'm going to buy it for 10 and sell it for 40, and everybody's expecting you to get 40 and you only sell it for 30, it's kind of a letdown instead of a bonus. So anyway, I try to underestimate all of my deals when I'm drawing this out for you guys, and I'm telling you that most of this land I'm going to sell for probably $4,000 an acre. I'm underestimating some of those smaller tracts. I'm going to get 4,500, maybe 5,000 an acre. And so hopefully it comes out even better than I guessed, but at worst case scenario, it'll be what I said it would be. So, but anyway, on this new deal I'm about to do with my wife, it's just me and my wife doing this deal. And so we started a new company and I put her on the company with me. And so when I buy this property, the way I explained it all there on the paperwork, I'm going to be buying it for $586. I'm going to be putting down about $88,000. I'm going to have about a $498,000 loan. That sounds crazy to say, but $498,000 loan at 4.9% on a 20-year note. I think it comes out to $3,200 something is going to be my payment every month. And so when I sell those properties for $1.6 million, it will be bringing in roughly $14,000 a month. And so there will be over a $10,000 positive cash flow every month. So I'm going to be out of pocket altogether with the survey and everything, like $117,000 up front, which, by the way, I am using from a line of credit on my home. So this whole deal will be a complete real, everything's borrowed money, no money out of my own pocket. Everything's borrowed. So I'm going to take this out of my line of credit and use it over here. My payment to the bank's $3,200. I'm going to have that survey in there. But when I sell these tracts, I'm going to have 25 of them. I'll have at least $25,000 when I get that, when I sell them all, which should take me about a month, maybe a little bit over. And when I buy it, I get a $15,000. Actually, it's like $18,000 commission because I'm a realtor. And when I buy it, I get the commission back. So that's going to put me closer to like 40-something thousand dollars. And so I'll still be out of pocket, like, I want to say it's like 70, 80,000. And so if it's producing $10,000 a month in positive cash flow, then I should have all of my money back in about 8 or 9 months. And so then I'll be into the whole deal I'll have paid my line of credit back and I'll be into it for no money. And I'll be making over $10,000 a month on that one deal. And hopefully that'll set me up once I get that money back in my line of credit to go out and do another deal, hopefully bigger and better than this deal. And so, I don't know. Do you guys have any questions so far?
I have a question. How do you find deals like this?
These deals are listed on the open market. Actually, this property that I'm about to buy has been on the market for probably about a year. It's just been sitting there. I've seen it before. I've looked at it a couple of times. Never really got to the point where I could do anything about it or whatever. But now that I'm to the point that I can do something and I look at the market, all of those other deals that I thought were better than this deal, they're not there anymore. So now that I'm looking at it, I mean, it's hard to find something for $12.50 an acre now. It's getting harder and harder to find these deals like this, but they're there. I mean, it's still there. I got it negotiated a little bit off the price, but the last deal I bought, it was on the market too. Like almost all of the deals I buy are on the market. They're there for anybody to look at them. You just have to analyze them and know what you're looking for, and there are basic things that I look for when I'm looking for a piece of property like this that I'm going to cut up and split up. I'm looking for road frontage so that I can cut it up and everybody can still get to their own property. I don't have to make any driveways or anything. I hope that it has, you know, as you cut them up, as it goes down the road, I hope there's an electric line, power line that goes right down the road so everybody has access to the power. It would be really nice if there was water running down that road too, but it doesn't have to be. I sell land that just has power, but having power is nice. I mean, if you don't have power, you can still do it, but it's a little bit harder. So most people want at least power. And those are some of the things I look for, and make sure that, you know, the land's not the complete side of a mountain. You know, you want it to be somewhat usable, you know, so that when you chop off. And so I try to keep my tracks. Like some people would say, hey, I buy 10 acres, I make 10 1-acre lots. Well, you could do that if you had enough road frontage to do that. But most of my tracks are 10, 8, 15, 20 acres. I sell for 2,500, 3,000 an acre for 20 acres, 60,000. I give me 1,000 down and I finance the rest at 10% interest. Sounds pretty good. I pay $1,000 for it. I sell it to you for 3,000 an acre and I charge you 10% interest on it.
So, Mr. Crane, I have a question for you. When you say I look in the market, so I know people understand what the market is, but could you be a little bit more specific? Being that you're a realtor, is it just Facebook Marketplace? Do you do Craigslist? Do you have some type of inside access because you're a realtor?
Nope. I look on all of those places. But when I say the market, so there are some main websites like Zillow and Trulia. And then there's some land websites called landandfarm.com, landwatch.com, landsofamerica.com. And so these websites, when anytime a realtor lists a property, these websites automatically pick up that list and list it. That is the open market. When you list it with a realtor and it's on the market, that's on the market. If a private individual that says, hey, I'm sticking a sign in my yard and I'm selling it, that's not really on the market. It is on the market, it's for sale, but it's not really on the open market where everybody can see it. It's just a sign in his yard. And that's the difference between listing it with a realtor and just somebody doing that. Now, could the for sale by owner do everything that the realtor can do other than put it on the MLS? Yes. Somebody who's not a realtor could take their house and put a sign in the yard and take pictures and take video and post it on Zillow and post it on Trulia, post it on Craigslist, post it on Facebook. They can do that same marketing, you know, they can do the same, get it out there. Once you put it on Zillow, probably goes to about 40 other websites online that say it's for sale. And so it gets out there a little bit as well without listing it with a realtor. But that's what the open market is. Like, to me, if it's on that website where anybody can look it up and it's on the open market listed in the MLS, then that it's open access for anybody could buy that deal. The is most people aren't looking at it like I'm looking at it. Most people, if you want to buy 300 acres, there's usually a different reason you want to buy it. You want to buy it for a farm, or you want to buy it because you want to go hunting, or whatever the reason. It's usually not so you can chop it up and sell it. But if you look at it that way, then you just sit and watch your market. Like you watch these websites, land, like I do, landandfarm.com. Every weekend, I look through all of the counties. There's about 10, 12 counties around where I live. I live in Hardin County, Tennessee. All the counties that are touching my county and all the counties that are touching those counties, I look in those counties because I just try to keep all my properties where I'm at. And I look in those counties, anything over 10 acres. I don't care the price. Show it to me. I want to see it. And I sign up so that every time something gets listed, I get an email, and I make it a point to look at that email. I make it a point to look at these. Most of the time, they're nothing. But sometimes, hey, there's 300 acres for 300,000. Well, let me look at it. Oh, well, it's 300 acres in the middle of nowhere, and it's got an easement to get to it. Well, that doesn't work what I'm looking for. So to me, that's a great price, but I can't chop it up because there's no road frontage how I want to do it. it's not going to work for me. So I passed. But tomorrow there's another one, 350 acres for 350,000. And I look at it and it's got a mile of road frontage. And then I'm like, holy cow. And then there's electricity running down the road. Well, yeah, that looks good. So to me, then when I see these things, then I feel that sense of urgency that, hey, maybe there is somebody else out there watching the market like me, looking for the exact same thing I'm looking for. And if I don't hurry up and get it, he will. And so when I find a deal, when I'm looking for a deal, when I find a deal, I don't let anything stop me till the moment I get it under contract. I push forward and do my best and make the best offer I can make. And I try to get the property. Because to me, once I decide, hey, this is a good deal, whether I get it for 350 or 360, it doesn't really matter.
Mhm.
When you're selling it for $1 million on the other end, whether I get it for 350 or 360, it doesn't matter. So that's, anyway, that's what I do. Any other
Thank
questions?
you. Thank
Any other?
you.
Tim, how have you, so starting out doing land, how did you sort of begin that process? Because you were doing houses. And then
Okay.
how did you sort of decide to go into land instead of houses?
So this is a long story. So when I that's how I actually met Sabor, because there was a thing called the Dodd-Frank Act that came into effect that said, hey, you could only owner finance 3 houses a year under your name or under your company. And so that kind of put a wrench in my business model. The Dodd-Frank Act did not, doesn't appeal, it doesn't go to the land, like land doesn't fall under the Dodd-Frank Act. So if you buy and sell land like that, it doesn't matter. And so we decided, hey, we also had some other tax reasons, but we decided that we had a bunch of houses, we were going to liquidate our houses. And so I had already sold these houses to people on payments. And so when I found Sabor was a note broker, where he, helps me sell my notes to other people, other investors who will buy the note and then collect the payment themselves instead of buying the house and kicking them out or whatever. They're just going to buy the deal and let them collect the money. And so Sabor helped me liquidate a lot of my property, a lot of my houses that way. And what we did was we sold them at a discount, got the cash, and then we put it in a new company and bought land over here in this new company. And so that's kind of what got me into land. In the beginning, I used to think land was a good investment because I didn't see the income potential for it. To me, it was a liability. It was something you had to buy and then you had to pay for, because who wanted to rent some land, right? Because I was only thinking rent, like, in my head. Everybody needs a place to live. So in my head, houses probably do sell a little bit easier if you use owner financing than land does. But if you know what after a while of watching your market, you kind of get a feel for what the price of land is, what the houses are going for, what everything's going for. You kind of get a feel for it. And so when the good deal comes out on a piece of land and you can buy it at this price and you feel pretty confident that you can sell it for this price. Like for me, selling land for $3,000 an acre right now with owner financing, like there's nobody out there doing it. Like I see other people that do the same thing as I do. They want $8,000 an acre or $7,000 an acre, or they're selling 1 or 2 acres for $15,000 or $20,000. And it doesn't sound like a deal. Like to me, it doesn't impose value. Like when you read one of my ads and you see 20 acres for $60,000 for $1,000 down and $500 a month, it sounds like a deal. And so they sell fast. And to me, like some of the other people that do what I do, like there's a couple other guys around in Tennessee where I'm at. And like anytime you could look at their site, their website or whatever, and they've got an inventory of land. Like they have numerous lots that they're waiting to sell, that they've been trying to sell for 6 months or a year, and they just haven't sold them. When I get a big tract of land with 25 lots, they're all gone in a month. I sell them all because to me, I don't want to hold them for 6 months. I want them all producing money. I need them all. I need them to give me some money because I can't pay for this big piece of land by myself. I need some money coming in. So until I figured out that land like is even better than houses, because a house, you can buy a house for 20,000, sell it for 40. Well, if you want to make 200,000, you got to buy 10 houses for 20 and sell them for 40. But if I want to make 200,000 with a piece of land, I can buy 200 acres for 200,000 and sell them for 400,000. And I can make 200,000 in one deal. One deal that I make into a bunch of little deals, but it's still just one deal that I can focus my energy on to make 200 grand.
Tim, let me interject. So this has always been my fear with land. How do you handle your defaults? You know, like with real estate, if they default, I just take back the property and resell it again. How do you handle defaults on land?
And so will you say when a piece of real estate, if somebody defaults, you just take it back and resell it again? No, because if you have a piece of real estate and they're living there, you don't just take it back. You got to go through an eviction process to evict them. Now, with a piece of land, with the way I sell it with a land contract or an agreement for deed. I don't ever sign the property over to them. The property stays in my name until they finish paying for it. When they finish paying for it, then I give them a warranty deed free and clear. Until then, it's still in my name. So if you quit paying me, I just take it back. I put on my contract, big bold letters, it's 60 days. Now, if for some reason they bought the land and they live on the land, then I have to go through an eviction process too and get them off the land. But if they don't live there, I can just take it back without anything. I give them a little notice. I say, hey, I'm taking it back. Hit the 60-day mark. I just take it back and resell it. I'm the type of person though, I don't just take the property back when you hit, whatever. I still try to give you a chance. Because I want to work it out with you. I want to try to help you. I don't want to feel bad that I took it away from you when you were trying the best you could. I would an opportunity. Hey, I lost my job, but I got another one. I'll get paid in 2 weeks. Okay, I will work with you. That's okay. But in 2 weeks, if you don't have nothing for me, then I'm like, hey, what am I supposed to do? I've tried to give you a chance. I feel okay with myself now. I gave you every opportunity I could to try to perform, and you did it. So that's not on me, that's on them. And I don't feel bad for that. And so that's how I handle my defaults.
I got you. My next question is, so you're leveraging the bank's money and also your HELOC on your home.
On this particular deal, I am, yes.
Right. So you have 586,000 that you're going to be leveraging, and you're going to make almost close to 1.7 million.
Yes.
You're making a $10,000 a month spread on this one, right?
A little.
Yep. A little bit. Of course, I know you're going to make more. So how much of that fear do you have? I know you like leveraging that type of money for that return that you're going to see. And if anything goes haywire upside down, because a lot of times you're dealing with people on this call that's still trying to learn how to leverage. Like, what fear do you have?
Right at this moment, Sabor, I really don't have any fear. To me, it's funny. I talked to my mom the other day, and I told my mom about the deal. And this, I know this sounds kind of corny, but in the past, like, my brother is my business partner, and so he just went over the business for our taxes, and he just read. He's like, hey, don't post this on Facebook or anything, but we have 2 companies together, and he's like, one of them had, I don't know, like 30 properties in it, and it was worth like 1.5 million. And then the other one we had was worth like 2.5 million, but it had like 68 properties in it. And so it brought in like $251,000 in profit last year, those 2 companies together with me and my brother. And so I was telling my mom about this, and I was telling her about it. And my mom said, that's all you. You're the one that did that. Your persistence, you're not taking no for an answer. You're pushing and shoving your way. You're the one that did that. And it hit me a little bit, but she's right, because my brother's just kind of my bookkeeper. He's my business partner. He has supported me and helped me get to where I am, but it is me that has done that, has led the way there. And so I feel like now that I'm doing this deal by myself with just me and my wife, I'm not going to have my brother there. And so I do have a little bit of fear about the keeping track of everything. And so I'm going to hire a bookkeeper here that's going to come into my house and help me start keeping track of everything. And so I feel like that's going to help me tremendously, not just in that one aspect, but in other aspects of my businesses that she's going to be able to help me keep track of. And I'm going to get a little bit more peace of mind with that. But the actual fear from the deal, like I've done enough of these already, Sabor, like I already know how it's going to end before I even before I even buy it. I know how it's going to end. I've already predicted this. Like with each of those other deals, I've hit the mark every time. And it's all, I mean, after you see your proven track record for a while, you start to believe in yourself. And I say to myself, okay, so like, what is the worst case scenario? What is I put out all that money with I have a line of credit for however much, 100,000 that I got to start paying on, and I've got this big $3,200 mortgage over here that I'm gonna have to start paying on. What if nobody pays me? But what kind of crazy shit is that? Nobody's gonna pay me? Out of 25 tracks, nobody's gonna pay me. Nobody's gonna buy the land. Like worst case scenario, I sell it for $2,000 an acre, which is still almost double my money. But to me, it's almost a no. I don't want to say it's a no-brainer, but I feel very confident in myself. I just feel confident that it will sell. I know what's on the market right now. I know how, when I get a property back, like if somebody quits paying me and I get it back and I put it on the market and it's gone in 2 or 3 days, and there's 15 people that are pissed off at me because they didn't get it. I just know how the market is. It's how it's reacting to what I'm doing. And I don't know. I don't feel scared, man.
So for those that don't know, Tim used to do real estate. Like literally, you can't go to lunch with him. We go to lunch and people be like, Tim, you ain't got no property for this, sell me or seller finance. He like, no, like literally it was like, it was every day, y'all, I'm telling you. But so Tim, taking it back real fast, you're buying bulk land, right? So can you explain how real fast, like that, I guess that will go into your marketing, but you buy 300, 200,000, acres of land, then you survey them. Can you tell us that process of surveying and marketing?
Okay, so when you look at when I look at the property, okay, and I look at the road frontage, and I try to see how those properties are going to be cut up. And so on this particular property the one I'm buying, this 586, most of the tracks that I buy, I somehow managed to get most of the tracks reasonably sized. There may be one odd one here and there. And so usually the odd ones, like if you get a big tract that's 60 acres or 70 acres, that, just the way it chops up, you can't make it any smaller. And so kind of hard to sell that for 3,000, 4,000 an acre. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of have to give a better price per acre on that bigger parcel. You have to make it more appealing. You got to make it seem like there's value there. And so that makes it easier to sell. Maybe reduce the interest rate from 10% to 8%, or so the payment's not so high or whatever. But on this particular piece I'm buying, I'm going to have a piece that's 100 acres. Like I'm going to have a big 100-acre piece. And usually that scares me a little bit, but I don't feel it on this. I mean, I'm thinking that I might be able to just sell that 100-acre piece for $200,000 for cash to somebody who wants to buy it, and then just take that money and put it towards the debt of the bank, that the bank. I still have 369 acres. I sold that for almost double what I paid for it, and it all went towards the debt. Just make my, my end goal of getting it knocked out and just having $14,000 or $15,000 a month coming in, that would be the end goal there. But I don't know. So anything else?
Tim, I love how you just go, but I don't know.
I mean, I just start talking in my train of thought. I get to the end there and I'm like, what else do you want to know? I don't want to just keep taking everybody's time, just rambling on. If
So-
you,
No, you say the I don't know, like you really don't know, and you really do
So-
know, right?
so-
You're brilliant.
So yeah, they don't really realize how brilliant you are with the seller financing. I mean, like Tim, man, he's an expert at it. But one thing that we talked about yesterday, actually in our investment meeting, because we have a group of people that invest in, guys that don't know, we have a group of people that's investing in property. And I asked them, is there going to be an overhead dollar amount? Like if somebody comes in and make a cash offer, what would that be? You just said on your 100 acres, you would do a cash offer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. On your seller finance deals, not really smaller acres, 25 acres of land is not really small to some, but on your smaller acres or your smaller deals, you're going to seller finance because you want that monthly cash flow. Are you willing to pay for overhead?
I offer the seller financing because I want it to start producing an income. But if somebody makes me a cash offer, I'll sell any one of them for cash. Because I'm paying $1,000 an acre, I'm asking $3,000 an acre. If you're going to pay me $2,500 an acre for it cash, I'll sell it to you all day long and take that money, go buy some more for $1,000 and do it again.
So when you buying the acres, it be property on the acres already?
What do you mean?
When you buying the land, will it be property on the land already?
No,
What kind
no, he's only buying acres of land. Tim got away from properties. I think he's got
Oh,
he
okay.
still has 60 between two funds, but he got away from buying properties and now he's just buying land.
Oh, okay.
Let me go back to the survey part. Did you ask me a question about the survey? And I kind of rambled on and quit talking about it. So that survey, so when I look at the survey, I kind of look at how I can chop it up and make the pieces reasonably sized. So if you have a 20-acre piece, you don't want it to be 1 acre wide, 20 acres deep. You want it to be 4 acres wide, 5 acres deep. You know what I mean? Kind of halfway square. Sometimes they don't end up that way. Sometimes you have 3 acres deep, 6 acres wide, or deep, 3 acres wide, whatever it comes out to. But a lot of times I can sit on the map, just like that map that Sabor's showing right there. You can sit on there and just kind of see where the roadway is and just kind of chop it off on the map, and it'll tell you how big those pieces are that you're chopping off. And then my surveyor, I talked to him. I use the same surveyor for most of my properties. And so I tell him, hey, if you get out there and you're cutting a line for a survey and you think the line would be better 10 feet over there rather than over here, get over there, get over there. Then I tell him he's got the permission, or he's got the right to make that judgment call and shoot the line where he feels like it's best to be shot. And so he get out there and make sure that the line's not in the middle of the road. It's on one side so somebody can have the road and somebody else can't. Hey, you guys go over there, please. I'm on a call. Grandbabies, you gotta love them, don't you? Anyway, that's how I do the surveys. That's how I get it chopped up. That's how I make sure that they're what they're supposed to be. When the survey gets done, he does the drawing. He gives me new legal descriptions that each go with each tract of land. There's a new legal description. And so when I sell that to somebody, I give them a copy of the survey and a copy of the legal description. And I tell them, hey, all of the corners of your property are marked out there. Have fun finding them. But that's where they're at, out there. And if you know how to read the legal description, you can find the corners of the property. Or if you can't, then you can call the surveyor and they'll come out there and find them for you. But anyway, so anything else? Anybody else?
And what advice would you give to those who may be interested in investing in land?
What kind of advice would I give you? just watch your market, man. That's to me, that's the best way to find a deal. You just watch the market. And if you have a little bit of money, sometimes in the early stages, when I would have some money, I would look on the market and find a deal and just do the deal instead of waiting until the good deal came along, which you can do both. But if you wait, sometimes you can get a really good deal. If you just watch the market and that deal comes along, you can hop right on it. Perfect example is that little one of those flip deals that are on the paperwork that I got there. I belong to the Zillow search, right? So I get an email from Zillow every time there's a new listing in my area. Well, there was an agent in another MLS who listed a property in my town. And so when he does that, it doesn't go on my MLS. So none of the other realtors in town knows about it. But I got an email from Zillow that said, hey, this new listing came on the market. I saw it was a house for like $18,000. So I ran out there and looked at it. I was like, hey, I want this. So I called the guy. I sent him my offer. I didn't think I was going to get it, but I ended up, they waited like the whole weekend. I thought for sure there was going to be other people that submit offers, but nobody did. And I ended up getting it for $18,000. And so that was like God looking down on me or something. That just fell in my lap because I thought to myself, anybody else is going to come along that's got a little bit of money looking for a house, willing to pay 50 grand. And this house is worth it. And I can't believe somebody else didn't do it, but that happens. That's what the hustling is. So when I saw that listing that morning, I came home after I dropped the grandbabies off, and I came home and I told my wife, hey, I want you to come look at the house with me. And she kind of went, and she's like, and she was taking her time. And I said, never mind, I got to go. So I left and I ran out there to look at the house because I have a sense of urgency. I need to hurry up and go do it before somebody else gets it. And so I ran out there, looked at it, came home, submitted my offer. All my paperwork was in and done by 9 a.m. And when I made my offer, I said, it's an $18,000 house. I'm going to put up a $10,000 earnest money. And I want to close instead of 30 days, I'm going to close in 3 weeks just to try to make my offer look better than anybody else's offer who came in. But luckily for me, nobody else made an offer. So it didn't even matter.
One thing you said, though, the urgency, I always said that it's very important as being an entrepreneur, especially the business owner here. You cannot procrastinate. You cannot have a paralysis. Procrastination is going to actually hold you back.
You'll get beat every time.
Yes. We always talk about that. You have to have that sense of urgency. Somebody said, send it to me later. No, I got to send it to you now, because if I don't, but somebody raised their hand. They got a question for you, Tim.
Shoot it.
Hey, this is HL and Woody. How do you guys feel about blighted homes or like HUD programs and stuff like that?
Like what?
Like we fell upon something on Zillow. There were a bunch of homes in the Syracuse area that were all listed under a bank, Greater Syracuse something bank.
Right.
We called them and they started telling us about a bunch of houses. Like they had like you said, they had like $18,000 houses, $25,000 houses. They also had them listed with the renovation costs on them, ranging from 50 to maybe 80,000, depending on both the asking price of the house and what the house needed. But some of them looked decent, some of them looked okay, all in all. And then they had stipulations, of course, but there were some that didn't have stipulations. So I wanted to know how you felt about, those type of properties. Hello?
Or the area?
Well, I'm in New York City. But Syracuse is not too far.
Okay. I mean, to me, I've bought several HUD homes back when I was buying homes. I used to buy a lot of them because I bought a lot of homes during after the market crash in 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12. There was a lot of foreclosures on the market. I bought a lot of HUD homes. I feel a lot of times I got really good deals on HUD homes. So, I mean, I'm all for it. Whatever you feel like you can get a deal on. That's where studying your market comes into play. If you know your market, then when you see an $18,000 house, then you either know, hey, that's in a nice neighborhood, it's $18,000, or hey, it's in a war zone down there. It's not worth $18,000. So I don't know. You know, I mean, I don't know your market, but I know mine, and so that's why I tell people, man, you got to know where you're buying your stuff, what you're doing, where it's at, and the way you do that is by studying the listings. Sign up to Zillow to get all the new listings in your area. I don't care how much it sells for. If it sells for 5 million, you want to know about it. If it sells for 50 grand, you want to know about it. And then when you look at them, look at how long it was on the market. What was it originally priced for? Who sold it? And then you just look at these little things. You don't have to write anything down or whatever, but after you study it for a while, you start to get a feel for them. And then when you say, hey, there's a $400,000 house just came on the market for 150, it needs 50 grand worth of work, then you already know it's a deal just from reading the ad, you know, and then that's where that sense of urgency kicks in. Now you got to go look at it. Now you got to hurry up and drop what you're doing to run over there and see if it's really a deal or what it is, you know, what the deal. And if it is, hurry up, keep putting in your offer, put your offer in fast, make it strong so that you win. Because there's going to be other competition, especially in New York. I don't even know how you guys do it up there. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't intend to stay in the city. I intend to go upstate, if anything, because the city is impossible.
HL, I know in Tennessee, Tim had to put in a lot of offers for me on HUD. I don't know if New York, you have to go through a licensed realtor to put in an offer.
Some of them are asking for that. This thing in particular, I did end up speaking with somebody on the bank side. They were very open for anything. The only thing is, of course, I'm going to reach out to Renee about this. They suggested, since it is a good ride to get out there and stuff, and we would want to set up a few viewings at once. They would want us to have a pre-approval or pre-qualification, like a loan and stuff like that, so they wouldn't be wasting their time and stuff. But that's why I was like, okay, well, that I have to, hold my horses. Let's let's put some plans into place and stuff like that. But we were just like Tim said, we're just checking our market, and we're more so looking for property, land, and like he said, farmland and stuff like that. Some stuff that's more along the lines of what we're interested in and stuff. So
I think we have another question, Raquel, for you, Tim.
Shoot it on me.
Oh, you're breaking up. I'm sorry. Raquel,
Shoot it.
Raquel, go ahead, Raquel. He said,
My question is, outside of Tennessee, I know you said you checked the counties in your area. Do you know of any other states that have just as good? I know not sure if you watch markets outside of your state to see if they have any properties, these big lots for sale like they do in Tennessee.
So I have, a lot of the southern type states, Alabama, Mississippi, Kentucky might have some. All the states have them, all the states have, but where I live, it's kind of rural. There's a lot of, I live out in the sticks. There's really not much going on out here. There's a lot of land. But they have that same aspect in those southern states like that. In the Alabama and the Mississippi, there's land. Like a lot of times, especially when I first started, I found timber companies that had land. And after they cut the trees, they sell the land and you can get it pretty cheap. And so that's where I first started getting it really cheap, for like buying like 600, 700 an acre for some land. And after the trees are cut, it takes a couple, 2-3 years, but in 3 years, the plants start growing up. And then by 4 or 5 years, I mean, that land, you can't, you can tell it's been cut, but it's grown up enough where it's not a big issue anymore. Sometimes right after they cut the land, it looks a little ugly because there's nothing on it. That's why you let a year or two go by where a little bit of greenery starts to grow. It looks a lot better. But anyway, I sell it when it looks ugly. It don't matter.
I know, Tim. So I know with the seller financing back in the days when you just buy property, you wouldn't do no rehab or anything. I know you tell me don't do no rehabs. I do rehabs, I know. But I got it. So going over to, can you see the screen?
Yeah, I see it.
So going over to your marketing, right? I know you always do like little stuff like the picture here. How are you creating those for the business owners?
Listen, so there's a website called JibJabcom. You ever heard of it?
Yeah, I think you mostly see it during Christmas time. Yeah.
Right, where you put your little head on the little elf and they dance around and do some funny shit. Okay, $15 a year, you can sign up to that website. So they've got all these funny little things like this, like where the license to kick serious ass or whatever, and the real estate terminator, or yeah, the new sheriff in town, all that stuff, right? So I just take a little screenshot of it. I go through all the pictures, put my little face on it. I made about 50 or 60 of them. I did that probably like 10 years ago, and I've been using them over and over again. They make people laugh. They make people, when they see it, they remember you. They just, it's something that sticks out. It's funny. And then, you know, they see me slamming the basketball or running with the football, or I'm the sheriff, or I'm the Superman, or whatever I am that day on my thing. It's funny and memorable. So anyway, that's where I got it from. I got it from JibJabcom.
Any other marketing tips that you have for business owner or people that are thinking about?
You know, I wish I could tell you guys that I had some super duper secret to marketing. Most of my marketing, like when I sell properties, which is what I consider like my marketing, I use Facebook Marketplace most of the time. I put it on Marketplace, and I belong to a lot of the local swap groups in my area and all of the counties around me. And so when I post a property in the county over here, I hit all of the swap pages in that area, all of those counties and the counties around it. You know, I'll post it. And so it usually doesn't take long, man. You get on those for sale pages, and you're selling land for $1,000 down with no credit check, and your payment's $250, $300 a month, and they sell like hotcakes, man. They sell quick and easy.
So when you put it on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, you know, every time I put a property on there, I get a bunch of Looney Tunes. Like, I get crazy calls and crazy people, or people cursing you out saying the deal is trash or whatever. Like, do you get a lot of Looney Tunes with land?
I do. I get people all the time that go, you know, like I'm selling a $30,000 piece of property for $1,000 down, $200 a month, $250 a month. And they add it all up, and they're like, oh my God, that's over 90 grand. And that's ridiculous. And I go, nobody wants to, my comment is, but it took you 30 years to pay me. 30 years to pay me. Pay it in 1 year, you won't pay 90 grand. You pay 33 or whatever. But anyway, I don't try not to argue with them too much, because it just, you know, it's arguing just kind of, there's no sense in it. They're knuckleheads. Some people who make a comment, who get a little snotty, I just block them. If they don't want to be part of the solution, and they part of the problem, I get rid of them. I don't care. You don't want to see my stuff, I'll make it where you can't see it. So I'm not worried about him, because there's lots of people who do want to see it. I got people waiting in line right now for this 469 acres I got coming up. I've got people waiting for me to get it. I've already got a guy who's coming down who said he wanted to look at the 100-acre piece. So I told him 275 for it. And so hopefully, I don't know, but we'll see.
So Tim, how soon do you start to, like, this is property that you're going to buy, you haven't actually purchased yet,
Right.
Or finalized the purchase, right?
Right.
So how soon do you actually start letting people know that you have this property? It sounds like you're sort of like, as soon as I, you know, sign some paperwork, I put it out there.
So here's my thing. So I'm in the real estate business already. Every once in a while, I do get properties back. So I do offer, like right now, I currently have 1 or 2 properties that are owner financed that I had to get back, that I'm reselling. And so as I'm reselling those, people go, hey, do you have anything else? Well, I don't have anything right now, but in 2 weeks, I'm going to have 500 acres coming up. I'm going to have 25 tracts ranging from 6 acres to 30 acres. And they're like, well, let me know about it. And I say, here's my website, sign up to my email list. And when I get them, I'll email you. And so I get about 10 signups. Every time I post a property for sale, in the top ad, I put, to see all my owner finance properties, click here, and I put a link to my website. In every piece of land ad that I put out there, I put that in there. And so anytime you click on my ad, if you read it, which a lot of people don't, if you read it, it'll say, click here, you'll see all my properties. And so some people do, and they sign up to my email list. And so I've got a list of about 3,000 people that are waiting for owner finance properties. And every time I get one, I send it out to my list, and hopefully those people that are waiting say, hey, I want it. I want this one or whatever. And so when I buy the property, when I get a contract on this property, I put 45 days to close. And so after I got a signed contract back from the seller, I called my surveyor and I ordered the survey. And I showed him how I wanted it to split up, because my surveyor has a lead time too. He just started on it this past week on Tuesday. He just started on it. And so I'm going to close in 2 weeks, and I'm hoping he's got it done by the time I close. That way, as soon as I close, I can start selling them, because I don't want to have to make the first payment on this place. I want the money from the property to make the payment from this point on. I don't want anything else coming out of my pocket. So anyway, the sooner you can get them done and on, then the sooner they're producing and making money.
Yeah.
So,
Thank
so people that, I hope everybody can see my screen. So I want y'all to see the power of what he's talking about, you know, especially when he said he start marketing. We don't give the dollar amount. So say on Facebook, we're selling a property, right? And we'll say owner will finance 30 years. We don't give an interest rate. We just say payment. First thing that people see.
No, I do give an interest rate. I have to.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah, I put the amount of the loan, how much the down payment is, what I'm holding, how much I'll be holding, and the balance I'm holding, like 10% APR interest. And then I give them options, 30, 20, 10, or any link term they want.
Okay. But I was trying to say on the screen here, you'll see that this person is going to pay $777. Of course, you collect your taxes and insurance. I think, Tim, you do like $100 more every month for taxes and insurance, depending on the county.
Well, with land, you only got to do the taxes. And so the way I estimate that is $10 per acre per year. So if it's like 60 acres or 6 acres, it's like $60 a year for the taxes.
Okay, so you collect that for taxes.
Right.
So this is the power. So he has, say for example, he's doing a acre of land or some acre of land for 100,000 for 30 years at 10% APR.
Right.
This is how much they're going to pay. They're going to pay back the 100,000, but look at the power they're going to pay in interest payments over 30 years by holding that. This makes you the bank. They'll pay over $200,000 in interest on top of the principal $100,000 they have to pay back.
That's where it's at, bro. That's where the game is won right there. That's when you start winning. When you're on the other side of it, where you're paying that for your house, it sucks. But when you're on the other side and you're receiving it, you're winning, bro.
Exactly.
And so any chance you can get to get yourself in the position where you're receiving the compound interest, put yourself in that position. A lot of people don't want to wait around for the money. Why not? I got enough to live on right now. I'll take the 10%. And see, to me, it's not just 10%. It's not like I'm taking 100,000 and putting it in there and getting 100,000. I'm buying the land for 30, selling it for 100, and then getting 10% interest on it. That's some more where the power comes from. You're able to triple your actual investment up front. Instead of just investing 100,000, I'm investing 300,000 at 10%.
So let's say, I think Rosie's trying to speak. Rosie,
I'm going to ask the question, what do most of your buyers plan to do with the property when they buy it?
You know, everybody's got different plans. Some people buy it to hunt on, some people buy it to camp on, some people buy it to build a house on, some people want to save it for family heirloom. Some people just buy it because it's affordable. So you know, everybody's got a different motive, but most of them buy it because they want a little piece of land for themselves. They want a little place where they can have and have a house or maybe a camp or whatever they want to do. They just want a little piece of land. And you know, when I sell, like I have an 8-acre piece for sale right now. It's 29,000. It's 1,000 down. The payment's like 250 a month. Like anybody can afford that. Anybody who's got a regular full-time job who wanted to own some land now could own it for 1,000 down, 250 a month. I don't do any credit checks. I make it easy. You take possession the same day you sign the paperwork. You can go run out there and run around naked, pee on the tree or whatever you want to do is fine with me. Most of my land don't have any, I don't have any restrictions on it. So most people that, you know, they can do whatever they want to do. They can start a business, build a shop, they can build a house, they can pitch a tent, whatever, have a chicken coop, raise some goats, whatever. Everybody's got a different motive. I mean, I don't know. I see people come from other states and, you know, they want to try and make it work and they want some land and where they live at, like New York or California, and they come out here and they're like, man, you know, you got a little elbow room out here.
Yeah, Renee got a question for you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So I just have a question. So in the event that you buy a land and you sell it to somebody, and let's just say they built a hut on it or something like that, and then they default, how does that affect you returning or getting your land back with them having built something on it?
It's my land. And so anything you build on it then becomes mine.
Oh, so you take possession of whatever they put on there and it now belongs to you.
That's correct. If you build a house and you put in a septic tank or whatever, or if you just put in a septic tank and for some reason you decide you default, you don't pay me anymore, that becomes mine. It becomes, when I take the land back, it becomes mine. It's part of the land. So if you build a house on it, it's the same aspect. That's why people, like, there are people out there that do what I do, and for some reason they tell people, no, you can't build on it till it's finished being paid for. And I go, why would you do that? Like, to me, that's no, like, to me, if somebody says, hey, I'm going to build a house on it, I'm like, okay, good. Because that means you're tied to the land now. Like, I mean, you're invested even more than what you paid me down. Now you're really invested in the land. And hopefully you'll just make your payment on time and I don't ever have to hear from you again. That's my end goal, is for you to just make your payment. I don't really want I don't want to take the house away from you that you worked to build and all that. I mean, even if I could make 200 grand on it, I'm just not that type of guy. I don't want to take something away from you, which I feel would be wrong. Now, if for some reason I have to, because you just won't pay me the money that we agreed that you're supposed to pay me, then I have to do what I have to do. But believe me, by the time I got to that point, I would have given you every possible chance to make it right, and you just didn't do it. So I wouldn't feel bad when I finally got to that point, because I gave you a chance, every chance I could, and you didn't. But anyway.
One thing too, Renee, like literally today, one of our tenants called us and said they were going to change the flooring. I'm like, what are you calling me for? It's your house. You know, sometimes they don't understand seller financing. They still look at it as a rent to own. They'll call you. I'm like, you on deed as the homeowner. You don't got to call me. I'm just the bank. So, you know, a lot of people don't understand that, but I always encourage it. One tenant, they did the whole bathroom because the wife ended up getting ill and went into she had to get a wheelchair in the lift in the front of the house. You know, I love that stuff, because you take back the property, that's a forced appreciation. You get to sell that property at a higher price now. So I love to see people make repairs or add on to the properties.
Me too.
Brian has a question for you, Tim.
Shoot.
Yeah, good stuff, Tim. Question, what process do you use, or I guess when you first started getting into land, to find a trustworthy land surveyor?
Well, trustworthy. You know, there was a company here in my town that I used a couple of times. They were a little bit slow. And so I was looking for a different company, and I found this guy. He's in a town. He doesn't live in my town. He lives in the county over from me. His name's Mike Manis at Advanced Land Surveying. And so I called him and I told him what I was doing. And he actually works with another guy who does the same thing I do, who's a little bit older than me and been in the business for a little longer than me. But I started talking to him and I told him what I was doing. And so when I do business with somebody, if I ask you to do me a job for a survey and you send me an invoice, I immediately pay it. I don't let it hang out there for a month or two. So that when you do a job for me and you send me the invoice, I'm gonna pay it immediately. And so that goes a long way. After you do that 5 or 6 times, I would hear other people tell me, hey, do you know this guy, Mike Manis? And I go, yeah. He goes, yeah, he told me about you. He said you were a good guy, man. You always pay your bills on time, always. And when somebody else tells you that he's telling other people that to me, that just makes me feel kind of good. So anyway, I mean, I'm not sure what you mean by trustworthy, but he does a good job. It's fair. When I first was starting, of course, I've been doing it for a minute. He used to charge me $500 per track. So if I bought a 50-acre track and I wanted to chop it into 10 tracks, 5 acres each, he would charge me $500 per track. Now it's more closer to 700 something. So for each track, it's about 700, maybe 750. And, but that was 10 years ago when we first started, he was doing that. So I'm sure prices have gone up, so is gas and everything else. But
does the surveyor cost weigh in on the number of tracks that you want? So say like you buy 300 acres of land and, each, is going to cost you 700 for each track. Does that count?
Does that in a little bit, just for the simple fact of, I don't want 300 1-acre tracks. I mean, it's just as easy to sell a 10-acre track as it's easy to sell a 1-acre track. You see what I'm saying? And 10 acres at one time is one payment for 10 acres instead of 10 payments for 10 acres. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, you're processing 10 times the amount of payments that you could just be processing one payment. Anyway, same goes with 10 acres and 100 acres. If you can sell 100, bigger the track, the more money you got in each payment. As you sell a 20, 30, 40 acre tract, your payments are getting 50 or 500, 600, $700 a month. That's a decent little payment to be getting in the mail. So it beats 150, 200 all day long. But if I'm looking at a tract and I go, hey, these are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 acre tracts. Do I say, hey, because I could chop it into one extra, I'm not going to do it because of the price? Not really, not to me. I just know, I read a quote about people who are wealthy who say that, when they look at things, they don't nickel and dime it. They say, is it worth it? Right? And so to me, it's worth it. It doesn't matter if they charge this survey I'm about to do on this big piece of land. It's probably going to be $25,000 for that survey. I mean, if it was 35 or 45, if I had to pay it, I had to pay it. Is it going to make a difference in the end scheme? No, not really. But, it is money out of your pocket right now. So yeah, it does make a difference. I mean, the 10 extra grand is 10 extra grand out of your pocket. So the cheap, the less expensive I can keep it, the better. When you start working with somebody over a period of time, they develop some sort of loyalty. I'm a good, devoted customer for this guy. So he does a good job for me. So anyway, that's how I choose the surveyor. He's been doing it for me for a while and he does a good job. And so I'm a loyal type of guy. Same with the banks I use. If you use me, okay. If I come to you and you say, hey, I can't help you, well, then I have to go somewhere else. I'm sorry you couldn't help me, but I got to go get the money somewhere. And I'm not taking no for an answer. So somebody's going to give it to me.
So Tim, do you have a system that you use? I know you talked about you have a waiting list and all of that. Is there software? Is there, some sort of a system that you have in place to keep track of all of that and send out, emails and all?
And so a long time ago, probably like 10 or 15 years ago, I signed up to this autoresponder and I bought a lifetime membership for like $67. And so I have this autoresponder. It's on the cloud that I can set up unlimited amount of email accounts or whatever I want to do, unlimited emails, everything. And so What I do is I just, on my page, I put a little sign up box on my website where I have my owner finance properties. I try to keep that one page as current as possible. I mean, you'll find ads online or on YouTube or whatever from 10 years ago, but I try to keep that page consistently current. And so when I put my sign up there and people go to my page, they just naturally sign up to it, and I just collect them. And I have it set up with an autoresponder where just every once a week, it just says, hey, just shoots them an email and says, hey, check my website, make sure to look for my owner finance deals or whatever. So I don't really have to go back and send you a personal email that says, hey, there's a new properties. It's going to remind you every week anyway. But sometimes I do just send the extra email. I include a picture or whatever, and I say, hey, I got a whole bunch of new tracks. Here they are. Check them out. And then I post it to Facebook and everywhere else, and I just get a crap load of attention. The $1,000 down gets them. The no credit checks gets them. You just make it easy.
Now, do you always do something down, or do you sometimes, do nothing?
Yeah, I need some money down. I mean, why? If you don't have any money to give me at all in the beginning, I mean, I can't do that. But now if you step to me and you go, hey, I got 500 now and I'll give you 500 next week when I get paid. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll work with you. So yeah, I work with people, but if you step to me and you go, hey, I don't have any money now, well, then step to me when you got a little bit.
If somebody can't come up with $1,000, they don't need a deal. I mean, you like
right.
$1,000 for some land. That's wow. That's amazing. You
right.
know? Now, is that 1,000 per acre?
No.
So if they buy 10, if they buy a tract of 10 acres, you will sell it to with 1,000 down?
Yep.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I do it all. I got a track on there right now. It's 28.7 acres. It's 99,000 for 1,000 down. The payment's like $868 a month.
So that 1,000 down just to get them into it, and then they're paying the month.
If you want to pay more down, you can, but I only require 1,000. The more money you owe me, the more interest I can collect.
So I know when we had the mortgage notes, y'all were bringing in roughly almost 70,000 a month. What is it now with the land that you're bringing in? Like roughly, I know.
I think it was. I don't want to say that. I don't think it was 70,000, man. I want to say back then it was probably like 20,000.
Okay.
Right now, it's probably about 40,000.
Okay.
Now, that's with the two companies that I own with my brother. I own another company with my nephew, another company with my niece, and then I just started one with my wife. And I have some personal properties that I own myself that bring in. I figured out the other day they bring in about 3,000 a month from just the ones I have myself, not including my niece and my nephew. My niece and my nephew, my nephew's property brings in 9,000 a month, so half of that's 4,500. Then my niece's property brings in 3,000 a month, so half of that's 1,500. But anyway, this one fixing to do is going to be bringing in 14,000 a month, and 10,000 of it's going to be positive. What's such a big jump? That's a big jump for me. And so now that I know how to do it, every jump I make is going to be like that from now on. I'm going to start leaping from where before I was taking baby steps. I'm leaping now. That's why I was telling y'all, it's almost like it's a new beginning almost, because I realize what I can do and what I'm about to do. And it's only about to get bigger and better from here, man. Okay. I see it. It's going to happen.
Well, Rosa, we over an hour. I don't know if anybody have any more questions. Oh, there we go. Somebody got a question. Go ahead. Are you raising your hand or are you saying hallelujah? I can't tell. I think she was saying hallelujah.
Who had their hand up?
Yeah, just giving praise for that. Delete.
I couldn't tell at first. I thought, hold on. I thought I seen both hands. I'm like, that's a hallelujah. That's a praise hand. Yeah, Tim is always like me. Tim is not scared. I mean, honestly, man, when we talk, we don't talk all the time, but when we talk, man, his motivation is that you can't be scared to jump. If you're scared to jump, you know, you have to learn how to be. I always say you have to learn how to be uncomfortable. I mean, comfortable with being uncomfortable. Definitely, he's very big on.
You should just know, again, this is where knowing your market comes into play. You're educated yourself enough on your market that when you make a decision, it doesn't feel like a jump. You don't feel like you're jumping into something. You're making an educated decision. It's backed by real estate. You know, your investment's backed by a piece of property. It's not some intangible stock or crypto or whatever that you can't touch and feel. It's actual pile of bricks somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And so to me, it's a good investment, especially if you make an educated decision on it and you get a good deal on it. If you're going to do better than the deal you got, you should be able to do better than that. Even if it's only 5,000 or 10,000 or whatever you're going to make it. Something's better than nothing.
Yeah.
And I like doing deals. So that's me.
So Tim, this has been absolutely awesome. And you are so inspiring and just brilliant. I know you don't really think of yourself that way, but I mean, the things that you are doing and how you think is absolutely brilliant. And we thank you so much for coming on and sharing your love of real estate and the game of succeeding and winning, right? Because it's a game in life. So thank you so much. We so appreciate your coming on. I'm sure we're going to have you again, so don't get too comfortable.
Yep. Big deal. Back to talk about it.
Oh, sorry, couldn't hear you.
I said when I get done with this big deal, I'll be back to talk about it.
Oh yeah, we got to hear it. Also, your website. What's your website?
twocranesrealty.com.
Okay. I'm going to put it in the chat as well.
Let me see.
I'm sorry. I said I was about to do it, but you got it. So I know we went right into it. I don't have questions in this week. I know everybody waiting on that money, Tamika. I don't have I don't have any questions this week, but
you are funny.
You've been killing it lately. I'm just saying, I'm proud of you.
So everyone, please just tell Tim how much you appreciate him in the chat really quick. Tell him thank you for coming on tonight and sharing all of his great wisdom. Some of us are going to definitely do what you're doing, Tim.
I hope so. If you guys need any help, feel free to call me anytime.
Yeah. So everyone is saying thank you and they appreciate
you so much.
Thank you so much.
And I do want to say something before I leave. Yeah, Tim is down to earth. And there are times, you know, that we've thought that people that made it out or people that have money, we had this mindset that they're not down to earth. Tim shares his information willingly, like he gives his heart and soul into making sure people understand. He does not have to do this. But a lot of times this goes back to mindset. You have to remember, if you're searching for the information, the information is out there.
Absolutely. It is. So anytime.
All right. I appreciate
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good
Bye.
weekend.
Bye. Thank you.
Blessings.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Take care.